William Blackwell's hands trembled as he stared at the scene before him. His 7-year-old daughter, Sophia, was curled up on the marble steps of their Chicago mansion, wrapped in a torn, dirty blanket. But she wasn't alone. A white boy, maybe 12 years old, wearing clothes too thin for the freezing December morning, had his arms wrapped around her, his own body shaking violently from the cold. Both had blue lips. Both were barely moving. Sophia. William's scream cut through the dawn air as he ran toward them, his expensive shoes slipping on the frost-covered steps. The boy's eyes flickered open, crystal blue eyes that held more courage than any child should have to hold. "She's okay," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I kept her warm. I kept her safe." William fell to his knees, pulling his daughter into his arms. She was ice cold but breathing, alive. "Who are you?" William asked, tears streaming down his face. "How long have you been out here?" "All night," the boy said simply before his eyes rolled back and he collapsed. At 12 years old, Noah Mitchell had been homeless for 2 years, ever since his mother died, and he ran away from the Crawford family that took him in. He'd learned how to survive. Which dumpsters behind which restaurants had the best food, which shelters asked the fewest questions, which streets were safe to sleep on. But winter was different. Winter was dangerous. That night was supposed to be the coldest of the year, 10 degrees, maybe lower. Noah knew he needed to find shelter, real shelter, but the nearest homeless center was 5 miles away, and he was so tired, so cold, so hungry. As he walked through Millennium Park, the old pocket watch his mother gave him, the one with "Keep Your Heart Kind" engraved inside, pressed against his chest, a reminder of what mattered most. That's when he heard it, crying, soft, scared crying. The sound was coming from behind a massive iron gate protecting one of Chicago's most prestigious homes. He peered through the bars and saw her, a little girl in pink pajamas, sitting on the mansion's front steps, hugging her knees, crying. No coat, no shoes, just pajamas in freezing weather. "Hey," Noah called softly. "Are you okay?" The girl's head snapped up. "I'm locked out," she said, her voice trembling. "I pressed the doorbell, but nobody comes. I'm so cold." Noah looked up at the sky and snow was starting to fall. This little girl wouldn't survive the night out here in pajamas. He could walk away. He could go to the shelter and save himself. But Ms. Rivera's voice echoed in his head, his former teacher who'd been the only one to see him, to protect him when others bullied him for being different, for liking other boys. "We don't have to be strong all the time, Noah, just kind when it matters most." That night, it mattered more than ever. If you've ever faced a moment where doing the right thing might cost everything, follow Heart Stories for more tales that remind us what makes us truly human. Noah awoke to the steady beep of monitors at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. A kind-faced nurse named Jenkins checked his vitals while explaining that he had severe hypothermia but would recover. "The little girl," Noah croaked, his throat raw. "Is she okay?" The nurse's eyes softened. "She's fine, sweetheart. Mild hypothermia, but she'll be perfectly okay thanks to you." She paused, her voice growing serious. "You saved her life, and nearly lost your own doing it." Before Noah could respond, memories flooded back, not of the previous night, but of the life he'd fled 2 years ago. His mother's funeral, where he stood alone because they couldn't afford a service with guests. The social worker who placed him with the Crawfords, a family who took foster children for the monthly checks. The day everything shattered when 10-year-old Noah had written in his journal about his feelings for Mason, a boy in his class. Mr. Crawford found the journal, called Noah disgusting, broken. He used his belt that night, leaving marks that took weeks to fade. Patricia Crawford had simply watched, lips pressed into a thin line of silent agreement. Only their biological son, Jack, had shown Noah kindness, sneaking him food when he was locked in his room for days as punishment. Noah remembered the night he escaped, slipping out with nothing but his mother's watch and the clothes on his back. convinced that being homeless was better than living where he couldn't be himself. The hospital room door opened, and Detective Lisa Morgan entered, her expression professional but kind. Behind her stood William Blackwell, his face a complex mix of gratitude and caution. Noah recognized the look the one adults got when they realized he was different. The same look that had followed him through school hallways before he dropped out. "We need to understand what happened," Detective Morgan said gently. "The security footage shows you climbing over Mr. Blackwell's gate. Can you tell us why?" William interrupted, his voice tight with emotion. "What the security footage shows is this boy giving my daughter his only jacket and blanket while he froze to death." His voice broke. The cameras captured everything, hours of him talking to Sophia, keeping her awake, telling her stories even as his own body was shutting down. Noah looked down at his hands, surprised by the defense. She was locked out. The door closed behind her when she went out to look at stars. I tried knocking, ringing the bell, but no one heard. William's shoulders slumped as he sat in the chair beside Noah's bed. "The staff quarters are in the back of the house. I was away on business. I've been away too much since her mother died." Detective Morgan continued gently. "Noah, our records show you ran away from your foster home 2 years ago. The Crawfords reported you missing." Noah's blood ran cold. The name alone made his hands shake. "I can't go back there." He looked directly at the detective, a woman who seemed to understand more than she was saying. "They hurt me because said they needed to fix me." Something shifted in William's face, not disgust or judgment, but recognition. He looked at Noah as if truly seeing him for the first time. "No one's sending you back there," he said quietly. "Not if I have anything to say about it." What neither of them knew was that this moment would begin a battle that would test everything each of them believed about family, courage, and what it means to truly see someone for who they are. The hospital room fell silent after Noah's confession. William Blackwell's posture changed, his business-trained composure giving way to something rawer, more human. "I grew up the son of a janitor," he said quietly, surprising everyone, including himself. "When I built my tech company, investors would look at me like I didn't belong in the room." He paused, seeming to weigh his next words carefully. "I know what it's like when people decide who you are before you open your mouth." Detective Morgan's notebook remained open, but she'd stopped writing. She had a rainbow pin on her lapel, small but intentional. "Noah, I need to ask you more about the Crawfords. We need details if we're going to keep you safe." Noah's words came slowly at first, then in a rush, describing meals withheld, nights locked in closets, prayers forced upon him to heal him, physical abuse disguised as discipline, the shame that followed him like a shadow. As he spoke, Dr. Henderson, the hospital's child psychologist, entered silently, observing Noah's body language and noting the consistent trauma markers in his story. "Did you ever report them?" the detective asked. "Who would believe me?" Noah replied. "A foster kid with no family against a respected Christian household with 3 other kids." His voice hardened. "The system already failed me once when my mom died. Cancer we couldn't afford to treat." William's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then stood abruptly. "Sophia's awake. She's asking for you, Noah." Moments later, Sophia burst into the room, still in hospital pajamas, her blonde hair tangled. "Noah." She rushed to his bedside, careful of the IV lines. "You saved me. The doctor said I could have died if you hadn't stayed with me." Her eyes were bright with admiration. "You showed me your mom's watch and told me stories all night." Noah managed a small smile. "You told me stories too, about your art and how you want to be a veterinarian." William watched the interaction, something shifting in his expression. This wasn't charity or obligation. There was a genuine connection between these children who'd survived the night together. The door opened again. A tall man with salt and pepper hair entered. "Will, I came as soon as you called." His eyes landed on Noah with unexpected recognition. "Noah, this is Alex Torres, my best friend." William explained. Alex moved closer, his voice gentle. William told me what happened. He hesitated. And about the Crawfords. Noah looked away. You think I'm making it up? No. Alex's response was immediate. I was thrown out of my house at 16 for being gay. I know exactly what that kind of rejection feels like. For the first time, Noah's defenses fully dropped. Someone who actually understood. William and Alex exchanged a look that contained years of unspoken history. William cleared his throat and, Noah, I want to help you, not just today, but properly. Legally, Detective Morgan interrupted gently. That's complicated. Mr. Blackwell, the Crawfords still have legal custody. They've already been notified that Noah's been found. Then we fight, William said simply. I have resources, influence. Daughter Henderson spoke for the first time. Noah's testimony, combined with physical evidence and psychological evaluation, provides grounds for immediate removal from that environment. And Alex looked directly at Noah. You're not alone in this fight, Noah, not anymore. Noah touched his mother's watch, the cool metal anchoring him to reality. Could he trust these strangers? This man who'd been born into privilege but seemed to see beyond it? This detective with her quiet understanding? This friend who'd walked a similar path? Sophia slipped her small hand into Noah's. Stay with us, she whispered. Please. In that moment, in a sterile hospital room surrounded by people who'd been strangers just hours before, Noah felt something he hadn't in years possibility. 3 days later, the Chicago family court buzzed with tension. The Crawfords arrived with their attorney, Theodore Walsh, known for his aggressive tactics and conservative clientele. Noah sat beside Emma Richardson, William's choice of legal counsel, and one of Chicago's most respected advocates for children's rights. William and Sophia sat directly behind them, while Alex Torres provided a buffer between them and a growing crowd of media and onlookers. The case had attracted unexpected attention. A local news station ran the headline, Tech Billionaire Fights for Custody of Homeless Gay Teen Hero. Conservative outlets framed it differently, Blackwell's questionable motives in custody grab. William's sister, Margaret, had called the night before, her voice tight with disapproval. William, think about what you're doing. Taking in some gay homeless boy. What will your investors say? What about Sophia? William's response had been uncharacteristically blunt. What would you have me do? Margaret, return him to people who abused him. Is that the example I should set for my daughter? Now, as Judge Eleanor Wilson entered the courtroom, Noah fought to control his shaking hands. Robert Crawford sat stone-faced, his wife Patricia beside him, both dressed impeccably for their performance as concerned foster parents. But someone unexpected sat on their side too, Jack Crawford, their biological son, now 17. His presence confused Noah. Jack had been the only one who'd shown him kindness. Emma Richardson began methodically presenting evidence photographs of Noah's injuries from 2 years ago that Ms. Rivera, Noah's former teacher, had documented but never reported out of fear the system would fail him again. Medical reports from Dr. Henderson confirming psychological trauma consistent with Noah's account. Testimonies from 2 other former foster children of the Crawfords who'd come forward after seeing the news. Theodore Walsh countered with character witnesses praising the Crawfords' Christian values and community standing. He portrayed Noah as a troubled, unstable child who had fabricated abuse allegations after being disciplined for inappropriate behavior. When Noah took the stand, the courtroom hushed. His voice started quiet but grew stronger with each word. I was 10 when my mother died. She told me to always be honest about who I am. The Crawfords taught me that who I am is something to be beaten out of me. His eyes met William's briefly. 2 nights ago, I nearly died keeping a little girl warm because that's what my mom would have done. That's who I am. The most damaging testimony came unexpectedly from Jack Crawford, who approached the stand clutching a small notebook. This is my journal, he said, not looking at his parents. I've recorded every foster kid who came through our house, the punishments they received. His voice cracked. What they did to Noah wasn't discipline, it was hate. During recess, Noah found himself in a small conference room with William and Sophia. "Why are you doing this?" Noah asked suddenly. "You don't even know me." William was quiet for a moment. "When I saw you on those steps, giving everything you had to save my daughter, I saw someone with more courage than most adults I know." He paused. "And when I heard your story, I realized we have more in common than you think. Because your friend Alex is gay. Because I understand what it means to be judged for something you can't change." William's voice softened. "And because my daughter hasn't stopped talking about her guardian angels since she woke up." Sophia, who had been unusually quiet, pushed a folded paper across the table. It was a drawing 3 stick figures holding hands in front of a large house. "That's Daddy, that's me, and that's you," she explained matter-of-factly. "If you want." Noah unfolded his mother's watch from his pocket, tracing the engraving with his finger. For the first time in years, her words didn't feel like a distant memory, but a path forward. 6 months later, on a warm June morning, Noah Mitchell stood in the Cook County Courthouse wearing a new blue suit that still felt strange against his skin. Judge Wilson signed the final adoption papers with a smile that transformed her usually stern face. "Congratulations, Noah Mitchell Blackwell, it's official." William placed his hand on Noah's shoulder, the gesture now familiar and comforting rather than foreign. Sophia bounced excitedly beside them, clutching her latest art project, a painted family portrait far more sophisticated than her stick figure drawing from months earlier. Alex Torres and Ms. Rivera stood nearby as witnesses, both dabbing at suspiciously moist eyes. The Blackwell mansion had changed in those 6 months. Noah's room, once an impersonal guest suite, now displayed his emerging artistic talent on every wall. William had converted an unused sunroom into a small art studio where Noah and Sophia spent hours together. Brushes and canvases spread across tables bathed in natural light. The coldness Noah had first felt in the marble hallways had warmed with laughter, arguments, homework struggles, and movie nights. William had changed too. He delegated more at work, came home for dinner most nights, and learned to listen when Noah would occasionally wake screaming from nightmares about the Crawfords. He didn't always know what to say, but he always knew how to be present. 10 years passed like turning pages in a story. Noah, now 22, stood on Columbia University's graduation stage, receiving his degree in art education. From his seat in the audience, William watched with undisguised pride as his son, the boy who'd once been invisible on Chicago's streets, was now celebrated for his academic achievements in his work with at-risk LGBTQ youth. Sophia, 19 and studying veterinary medicine, cheered loudly enough to embarrass everyone around her. Next to her sat Jack Crawford, who had broken ties with his parents after testifying and found his own chosen family in the Mitchell Blackwells. With William's financial backing and business expertise, Noah established the Second Chance Foundation, providing safe housing and educational opportunities for LGBTQ youth rejected by their families. The pocket watch that once belonged to his mother became the foundation's symbol, a reminder that kindness, even in the darkest moments, creates ripples that can change lives. One afternoon, while teaching an art class at the foundation, Noah noticed a boy lingering after the others had left. Tyler, 14, thin and watchful, with bruises poorly hidden beneath long sleeves. "My parents found out yesterday," Tyler whispered, his voice barely audible. "About me. They said I have to leave." Noah carefully removed the old pocket watch from his desk drawer. "Let me tell you a story about a cold night, a little girl, and how sometimes family isn't about who you're born to, but who sees you when no one else does." Later that evening, Tyler sat at the Mitchell Blackwell dining table, where Sophia was animatedly describing her latest veterinary rotation. William was serving his infamous failed attempt at lasagna, and Noah was explaining why they needed to make room for one more. Have you ever had a moment where kindness completely changed the direction of someone's life? Where would you be today if someone had offered you a second chance when you needed it most? Follow Heart Stories for more powerful reminders that sometimes the family we create matters more than the one we're born into.